The Hardcore Championship is a unique championship, with it being the only championship to have a stipulation attached to it. That meant that all matches for the belt could be at any time and place, and under hardcore rules, and this rule would come to be known as the 24/7 rule. So let's take a look at the complete history of the Hardcore Championship. It all started in 1998, when Vinnie Mac awarded Mankind with a broken title as a backhanded compliment, and to keep him away from the WWF Championship. So he became our first champion, and Mankind retained the title against Big Bossman and Ken Shamrock in a triple threat match on Raw. But then, he lost the belt to Big Bossman in a ladder match on Raw, ending Mankind's reign at 28 days. Big Bossman then picked up another title at Rock Bottom, becoming tag champions with Ken Shamrock. But the night later on Raw, he lost the Hardcore Championship to Road Dogg, with his reign ending at 15 days. Road Dogg defended successfully against Val Venus, former champ Mankind, Al Snow, and Gangrel, and he made it into 1999 as champ. However, after holding the title for 61 days, Road Dogg was forced to vacate the title due to injuries. Then at In Your House 27, St. Valentine's Day Massacre, we'd get a new champion, and that was Bob Holly, after he beat Al Snow for the vacant title and permanently put an end to the Job Squad. Holly defended his title against Steve Blackman and Bart Gunn in matches, and then changed his name to Hardcore Holly. He continued to retain in another match against Flash Flanagan, but after that, he dropped the belt to Billy Gunn after holding the title for 29 days. Billy Gunn would put the Hardcore title on the line against Intercontinental champ and tag team partner Road Dogg, with the IC title also on the line. However, the match ended in a no contest, and both men kept their titles. Then at WrestleMania 15, Gunn put his title on the line in a triple threat match against former champ Hardcore Holly and Al Snow, and Hardcore Holly managed to get the win, becoming a two-time Hardcore champion and ending Billy Gunn's reign at only 13 days. Hardcore Holly's second reign with the title kicked off with a successful defense against Steve Williams on Raw the night after Mania, and then against D'Lo Brown 2 Raws later. Then he put the title on the line against Al Snow at Backlash, and Al Snow got the win, ending Hardcore Holly's second reign at 28 days. Al Snow would enjoy the longest reign with the title so far, retaining against Head in a match on Sunday Night Heat, and yes, that counts. Then he retained against Road Dogg on the Brian Pillman Memorial Show, against Hardcore Holly at Over the Edge, against Droz and D'Lo Brown on episodes of Raw, Prince Albert in OVW. Then finally, after holding the belt for 91 days, he dropped the belt to Big Bossman at Fully Loaded, giving us another two-time champion. Big Bossman would retain against Viscera on Raw, and then after 28 days of holding, he lost the belt back to the man with the longest reign, Al Snow at SummerSlam. So this was Al Snow's second reign, but his second wasn't as good as his first, and after retaining against Road Dogg in a no contest on Raw, he'd lose the belt back to Big Bossman after 2 days of holding on the second ever episode of SmackDown. So now we had a three-time champion Bossman. However, he didn't get to defend successfully, and he lost the belt to the British Bulldog exactly 2 weeks after winning the title. The British Bulldog didn't have much of a reign either though, as he decided to award the belt to Al Snow on the same night, and that made Al Snow a three-time champion. Al defended successfully in the infamous Kennel from Hell match against Big Bossman at Unforgiven, then retaining against Mideon on Sunday Night Heat, and against Steve Blackman on Jacked. However, after 35 days of holding, Al's third reign would end at the hands of Big Bossman again, but this time in a triple threat match that also included Big Show, and this made Bossman a four-time Hardcore champion. Bossman would break the record of Al Snow's 91-day reign, defending successfully against the former record holder in a rematch, then against Farouk and Kane, all on episodes of SmackDown, then against The Godfather on Sunday Night Heat, and he went into the year 2000 as champ. However, after holding the title for 97 days, Bossman's fourth reign was ended by Test on Raw, and this was Test's first Hardcore championship. Test's first reign was only a short one though, and he'd only defend against Gangrel on SmackDown. Then, he lost the title to Crash Holly, giving us another first-time champion. Crash brought in the 24/7 rule during this reign, and we started to get some really short reigns, with the title changing hands in some strange places. He retained in a no contest on Raw against Mark Henry, then beat Taz on SmackDown, Viscera over on Raw again, and then in another no contest against Prince Albert on SmackDown. Then after 20 days of holding, while in Newark Airport, Crash was caught lacking by Pete Gas and became a victim of the rule he created. So Pete Gas was our next champ, but it didn't go too well as Crash took advantage of the 24/7 rule and got a win back over Pete in the airport, ending his reign before it started and becoming a 2-time champion. Crash would kick off his second reign with a defense against Hardcore Holly, but by no contest on Raw, then the same against Taz on SmackDown. However, we'd then get a 13-man battle royal for the title at WrestleMania 16, but there would be a 15-minute time limit and everyone held the title at some point in the match. First was Taz, ending Crash Holly's second reign at another 20 days, then Viscera, Funaki, Rodney, Joey Abs, Thrasher, Pete Gas getting another short reign, Taz again, and Crash getting a short third reign. However, Hardcore Holly was the champ at the end of the 15 minutes, ending Crash Holly's third reign at 20 days, and Hardcore Holly became a 3-time champ himself. The night later on Raw, Hardcore Holly would put his title on the line against Crash in a match, and unfortunately for him, Crash got the win, ending Hardcore Holly's third reign at only 1 day, and Crash became a 4-time champ. Crash would defend successfully in a match against Mark Henry on Sunday Night Heat, but then he came up against Perry Saturn on SmackDown, and Saturn got the win, ending Crash's 4th reign at 8 days. However, Taz would get a win over Saturn on the same night, ending his reign before it started, and becoming a 3-time champ. But then the same happened to Taz, after Crash took the title back a few moments later, becoming a 5-time champion. Crash retained in a triple threat match against both Perry Saturn and Taz, and then he found himself putting the title on the line against Matt Hardy, but Matt got the win, and ended Crash's 5th reign at 13 days. However, while Matt was defending his title against his brother Jeff on SmackDown, Crash interfered, and he took the belt back from Matt, ending Matt's reign before it started, and picking up the Hardcore title for a 6th time. Crash then had to put the title on the line in a 6-pack challenge at Backlash against Hardcore Holly, both Hardy Boys, Perry Saturn, and Taz, and somehow, Crash managed to retain. He'd then retain in a match against Steve Blackman in a no contest on Raw, and against Dean Malenko on SmackDown. But when it got to Insurrection, the British Bulldog would be the one to end Crash Holly's 6th reign at 11 days, with the Bulldog becoming a 2-time champion. He only held the title for 3 days though, and during his match against Hardcore Holly, Crash Holly interfered, and he'd lose the title back to him, with Crash becoming a 7-time champion. Unfortunately for Crash, he'd face the Godfather the next week on Raw, but he wouldn't lose the title to the Godfather. It was even worse. He'd lose the title to one of the Godfather's hoes, after only 6 days of holding. Luckily, with Godfather's hoe not being too hard to beat, no pun intended, Crash pinned her in the same match, ending her reign before it started, and picking up his 8th Hardcore Championship. This was another short reign of 1 day for Crash though, as the next day, Jerry Briscoe pinned Crash while he was sleeping backstage, becoming the new Hardcore Champion. Briscoe even defended successfully in a rematch against Crash on Raw. However, Crash would get another chance at Briscoe, and he defeated him, ending Briscoe's reign at 27 days. This made Crash a 9-time champion, but he only held for 9 days, and then Briscoe interfered in his match against Hardcore Holly, and pinned Crash to become a 2-time Hardcore champion. Unfortunately for Briscoe, Pat Patterson pinned him backstage the same night, and ended the reign before it even started. Patterson's reign didn't go much better though, as after only holding for 6 days, Patterson had to defend his title against Briscoe in the infamous evening gown match at King of the Ring, and Crash Holly crashed the party, pinning Patterson to become a 10-time champion. However, Crash would only hold the title for 2 days this time, as Steve Blackman interfered in his match against Al Snow, and pinned Crash to become the new Hardcore Champion. His first reign wasn't great though, as after only 5 days, he lost the title back to Crash on a house show, and Crash became an 11-time champion. But Steve got him back moments later, becoming a 2-time champion, and he would hold on to the title a lot longer this time. He retained against Bossman, Crash, The Godfather, Funaki, Al Snow, Road Dogg, X-Pac, Perry Saturn, Mideon, Albert, and Chris Benoit. But after holding on to the title for 50 days, Shane O'Mac interfered in his match against Test and pinned him, becoming the new Hardcore Champion. Shane had to give Steve Blackman a rematch at SummerSlam though, and Steve got the win, ending Shane's reign at only 6 days, and becoming a 3-time champ. He retained in matches against Taz, Gangrel, Bossman, Perry Saturn, X-Pac, and Al Snow. However, he had to defend his title in a 6-man battle royal, and Crash Holly ended Blackman's 3rd reign at 28 days, becoming a 12-time champ. But then moments later, Perry Saturn grabbed his 2nd title, and at the end of it, Steve Blackman regained the title and made himself a 4-time champion. He defended successfully against Road Dogg, Edge and Christian in a triple threat, Albert, Funaki, Taz, Gangrel, Just Joe, Kane, Tiger Ali, Perry Saturn, and Raven. However, he'd defend one more time in a triple threat match against Hardcore Holly and Raven, and after Blackman got the win, Raven took advantage of the 24/7 rule and ended Blackman's 4th reign at 89 days. Raven made it into 2001 as champ, retaining in matches against Jeff Hardy, Taz, Blackman, Crash, and Test. But then he put the title on the line against Al Snow on Raw, and Al Snow ended Raven's 1st reign at 31 days to become a 4-time champ. However, Raven won the belt back the same night, ending Snow's 4th reign before it even started. So this was Raven's 2nd hardcore title reign, and he got to defend it successfully against Crash on Raw, but he'd only hold the title for 12 days, and then lost the belt to K-Quick on a house show. K-Quick didn't even get to defend though, as Crash Holly ended his 1st reign with the title the same night, and made himself a 13-time champion. But Crash didn't even make it a day with the belt either, and this time, on the same show, Raven got a win over Crash, becoming a 3-time champ. Raven held the title until the next house show the day after, and he dropped the belt back to K-Quick. But then Crash Holly got a sneaky win over him on the same show again, and became a 14-time champ. However, Raven would get the last laugh that night, getting another win over Crash, ending his 14th reign before it started, and becoming a 4-time champion. The theatrics continued on SmackDown 2 days later, as Hardcore Holly ended Raven's 4th reign at 2 days, becoming a 4-time champ himself. Then, Raven got some revenge, taking the title back, and that made him a 5-timer. But he only held the belt for 4 days this time, and Hardcore Holly would take the belt back again, on the next house show, and he became a 5-timer as well. Of course, it didn't last long, as Raven took the belt back on the same show to become a 6-time champ. However, after only holding for a day this time, on the house show a day later, the title changed hands more than once again, with the belt going from Raven, back to Hardcore Holly for a 6th title, then to Al Snow for his 5th title. But still, eventually, Raven ended up with a belt at the end of the show, making him a 7-time champ. He'd hold it for 6 days, and then Steve Blackman would grab the title on another house show, becoming a 5-time champ. But Raven took it back the same night, ending the night as an 8-time champion. The day later on the next house show, the same happened again, with Blackman becoming a 6-timer and Raven becoming a 9-timer. Then after holding for a week, Raven put the title on the line against Big Show at No Way Out. However, it was Billy Gunn who interfered, and he grabbed the belt for a 2nd time. It didn't end there though. Hardcore Holly and Steve Blackman also interfered, and they took out Gunn, which allowed Raven to pick up the title again, now for a 10th time. Unfortunately, the reign was over before it started, as Big Show chokeslammed Raven and ended the night with his 1st hardcore title. Big Show retained the title in a triple threat match against Kurt Angle and The Rock, and against Al Snow in a match on Raw. But after holding the title for 22 days, Raven was back in the title picture, beating Big Show on Raw, and he grabbed his 11th hardcore title. He held for 13 days, but when it got to WrestleMania 17, he had to put the title on the line against 2 monsters, in Kane and Big Show. And it was the Big Red Machine, Kane, who got the win and grabbed his first hardcore title. Kane defended successfully in matches against Val Venus, Kurt Angle, and Stevie Richards on episodes of Raw. However, he'd then come up against Rhino on SmackDown. And after holding the title for 16 days, Kane lost to Rhino, and Rhino got his first hardcore title. He'd retain in matches against Spike Dudley, Test, Raven, Chris Jericho, Bradshaw, Crash, and both Test and Big Show in a triple threat match at Judgment Day. However, on the Raw after Judgment Day, he'd put the title on the line against Big Show one-on-one. And this time, Big Show got the win, ending Rhino's first reign of 34 days, and Show became a two-time champ. Unfortunately, he only held for 7 days, and then lost the belt to Chris Jericho on Raw, and we had another first-time hardcore champion. Jericho didn't get much of a reign though, as the same night, he got caught slipping by Rhino, and Rhino took the belt back, becoming a two-time champ. He defended successfully in a match against Raven on SmackDown, but then he came up against Test, and Test ended Rhino's second reign of 15 days, and Test became a two-time champ himself. Test retained in a match against Perry Saturn, but after 13 days of holding, he was up against Rhino again, and Rhino got his revenge, ending Test's second reign and grabbing his third hardcore title. However, Rhino's third reign with the title didn't last long, as Mike Awesome pinned Rhino backstage after the match and ended his reign before it started to become the new hardcore champion for the first time. He didn't defend though, and after 15 days as champ, he dropped it to Jeff Hardy, who became another first timer. Jeff did the same though, not defending, and then after 12 days as champ, he lost the belt to Rob Van Dam at the Invasion, and RVD actually got to defend it. He retained in matches against Matt Hardy, Tajiri, Jerry Lynn, Kane, and Edge. However, in his defense against Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy interfered, and Jeff ended RVD's 22-day reign to become a two-time champion. Jeff still didn't get to defend successfully though, as he'd face RVD again, but this time in a ladder match at SummerSlam, and RVD got the win to end Jeff's second reign at only 6 days, to also become a two-time champion. He retained against Jeff in a rematch on SmackDown, and then on Raw, he'd put the title on the line against Kurt Angle, but Angle was the one to end RVD's second reign at 22 days. However, on the same night, Stone Cold threw RVD and Angle off the stage, which allowed RVD to get a cheeky pin, and he reclaimed the title from Angle, making RVD a 3-time champion. RVD retained against Chris Jericho at Unforgiven, then Big Show, The Rock, Edge, Undertaker, the Dudley Boys, Christian, and Matt Hardy in matches. Then at Vengeance, RVD put his title on the line against Taker again, but this time, Taker ended RVD's third reign at an impressive 90 days. Taker successfully defended against Spike Dudley, both Hardy Boys, Tajiri, Big Show, and even made it to 2002 as champ. However, Taker faced Maven on SmackDown, and Maven got a surprising win to end The Undertaker's 58-day reign. Maven retained in a match against Goldust, but after the match, Goldust got revenge and pinned him backstage, ending Maven's reign at 21 days. Goldust retained in matches against Taz and RVD, but his 13-day reign came to an end at the hands of Al Snow, who became a 6-time champion. However, Snow's 6th reign only lasted a day, and the day after he won it, he dropped it back to Maven, making Maven a 2-time champion. Then we got to WrestleMania 18, where the title changed hands like a hot potato again, with Maven facing Goldust, and after knocking each other out, Spike Dudley interfered and pinned Maven to end his 5-day reign. Then after Spike was chased backstage, the Hurricane swung out of nowhere on a rope, taking out Spike to become the new champ, and then Mighty Molly Holly turned on the Hurricane and hit him with a frying pan to grab the title. But an hour later, Christian slammed the door on her and took the title. That wasn't where it ended though. After all that, Maven managed to get the win over Christian and got out of Mania as a 3-time champion. However, Maven ended up getting drafted to SmackDown, but he'd put the title on the line against Raw superstar Raven. and Raven ended Maven's third reign in 9 days, becoming a 12-time champion, and made the title exclusive to Raw. Unfortunately for Raven, his 12th reign didn't last long at all, and he lost the belt to Bubba Ray Dudley after only 6 days of holding. But hey, at least it wasn't less than a day, like some of the other reigns, if you can even call them reigns. Anyway, Bubba couldn't do any better, holding for 6 days as well, and then lost the belt to William Regal on a house show. However, the belt changed hands a few times on the same show again, with Spike Dudley taking the title off Regal for his second hardcore title, Goldust taking it off Spike for a third, and Bubba getting it back for his second. Then, 6 days later on another house show, the same happened again, with Regal ending Bubba's reign and grabbing the title for a second time. Then Spike Dudley took it from him for his second. Then Goldust grabbed his third. And finally, Bubba got the title back, becoming a 3-time champ. However, he'd only hold for a day, and then the same happened again on another house show, with Regal becoming a 3-time champ, Spike getting his third, Goldust with his fourth, and finally Bubba getting it back again, becoming a 4-time champion. He held it for 1 day again, and the night later on Raw, Raven grabbed his 14th hardcore title. However, we play hot potato again, and he didn't even hold it a day, as Tommy Dreamer managed to become a first-time champion, and then Stevie Richards took the title. But at the end of the show, Bubba regained the title and became a 5-time champion. He held the title for 4 days this time, but we got more hot potato on another house show, and Bubba dropped the title to Goldust again for Goldust's 5th title. Then Raven took it for his 15th, and Bubba took it back again for his 6th, going into the house show the next day as champion. However, the same happens again, with Goldust grabbing his 6th title, Raven grabbing his 16th, and Bubba ending the show as a 7-time champ. He held for 9 days, and then during a title defense against Jazz on Raw, Stevie Richards interfered, and he pinned Bubba for his 2nd hardcore title. Unfortunately for Stevie, his 2nd reign didn't last long. He only held for 2 days, and then lost to Tommy Dreamer on a house show. And it didn't end there. We got more hot potato, with Goldust taking it from Dreamer moments later for his 7th title. And then Stevie won it back, and finished the show as a 3-time champ. He only held for a day though, and then on the next house show, he dropped it to Shawn Stasiak, making Stasiak a 1st-time champ. But on the same night, Stasiak dropped it to Just Incredible. Then he dropped it to Crash Holly for his 15th title, and then Crash dropped it to Stevie again for his 4th. And it didn't end there. Stasiak grabbed it again for a 2nd time, and then Stevie ended the night as a 5-time champ, but only held for 1 day. And then on the next house show, the same happened again, and Crash took the belt from Stevie for his 16th title, and then Stevie won it back to end the night as a 6-time champion. Unfortunately, Stevie didn't have much luck this time either, and only held for 1 day again, and then lost the belt to Booker T at Insurrection. Booker would only hold for a moment though, as Crash took it from him the same night to grab his 17th title. But then Booker won it back to grab his 2nd, but it was Stevie Richards who came out of Insurrection as champ, grabbing his 7th title. He only held for 2 days though, and then Bubba beat him on Raw to grab his 8th title. But then Raven beat him moments later for his 17th. Then Just Incredible took it from him to grab his 2nd, Crash Holly took it from him to grab his 18th, and then Trish Stratus of all people grabbed the belt for her 1st hardcore title. Unfortunately for Trish, Stevie Richards took it back from her to end the night as an 8-time champ. Then we got some more house show hot potato, with Stevie's 8th reign ending after 19 days at the hands of Tommy Dreamer, with Dreamer grabbing his 3rd hardcore title. Then Raven beat him, grabbing his 18th, and Stevie won it back to end the night as a 9-time champ. However, the house show hot potato continued the day after, as after only holding for 1 day, Dreamer took the title for a 4th time, then Raven for a 19th time, and then Stevie got it back to end the night as a 10-time champ. Stevie only held for 1 day again, and then lost the title to Terry during an interview on Raw. But he got revenge moments later, pinning her right back, and become an 11-timer. He then defended successfully against Crash Holly on Sunday Night Heat, but then after only 6 days of holding, he dropped the title to Tommy Dreamer on a house show again, and Dreamer became a 5-time champion. Then Raven took it from him on the same night, becoming a 20-time champion, but Stevie took the title back from him and ended the show as a 12-time champ. He only held for 1 day again, and then Bradshaw took him out on Raw to become a first-time hardcore champion. Bradshaw retained in the match against Just Incredible on Sunday Night Heat, but then after holding for 19 days, he dropped the belt to Raven on a house show, and Raven became a 21-time champion. However, on the same house show, Spike Dudley took the belt from Raven to grab his 4th title, then Shawn Stasiak won his 3rd, but then Bradshaw would end the show as a 2-time champion. He held the belt for 6 days, and then on another house show, Shawn Stasiak beat him, grabbing his 5th title. Then Spike got his 6th, Stevie Richards got a 14th, and then Bradshaw ended the show as a 4-time champ. He held for 1 day, then Raven beat him on the next house show, grabbing the title for a 22nd time, then dropped it to Crash for his 19th title. Stevie Richards got his 15th, and then Bradshaw ended the night as a 5-time champ. He held the belt for 6 days this time. Then on another house show, he dropped the belt to Stevie Richards, with Stevie Richards grabbing his 16th title. The same night, Stevie dropped it to Crash for his 20th title, then Crash dropped it to Christopher Nowinski, but he dropped it back to Bradshaw to end the night with Bradshaw as a 6-time champion. He held for 1 day again, and then guess what? We had more house show hot potato, with Stevie taking the belt for a 17th time, Crash getting his 21st title, and Christopher Nowinski getting his 2nd. But again, Bradshaw ended the night as a 7-time champ. He held for 5 days, and then on the next house show, he dropped the belt to Just Incredible for his 3rd title. Then Spike Dudley got his 7th, Big Show got his 3rd, and Bradshaw ended the night as an 8-time champion. He held for 1 day again, and then the same happened again on the next house show, with Just Incredible getting his 4th title, then Stasiak with a 6th, and Bradshaw ending the show as a 9-timer. He held for 1 day again, and the same happened again, Incredible becoming a 5-timer, Stasiak becoming a 7-timer, and Bradshaw ending the show as a 10-timer. He'd only hold for 1 day again, but don't worry, it wasn't the house show hot potato shit this time. He put his title on the line against Nowinski, and Johnny Stamboli interfered, taking the title for the first time. However, Bradshaw got revenge backstage and took the title back to become an 11-time champ, and even defended successfully in a rematch against Nowinski. But then, Bradshaw was back to the house show hot potato, with Raven getting his 23rd title, Just Incredible getting his 6th, Shawn Stasiak with his 8th, and Bradshaw winning it back to end the night as a 12-time champ. He'd hold for 1 day again, and then came up against Jeff Hardy on Raw, with Jeff getting the win and grabbing his 3rd hardcore title. However, the same night, Johnny Stamboli took it from Jeff for his 2nd title, and then Tommy Dreamer would take it from him, ending the show as a 6-time champ. He held for 5 days, and then he lost the title on a house show to Bradshaw for Bradshaw's 15th title. But of course they played hot potato, and Dreamer got the belt back to end the night as a 7-time champ. The same happened again on the house show a day later, and Bradshaw got his 16th title, but Dreamer took it back to become an 8-time champ. He then held for 5 days, and he dropped the belt on another house show, but this time to Shawn Stasiak, who became an 11-time champ. But guess what? More hot potato, and he dropped it the same night to Stevie Richards, who grabbed his 18th title. But then Dreamer got it back, and ended the night as a 9-time champ. He held for 1 day, and then dropped the belt on a house show to Stasiak for his 12th title. But the same night, Stevie Richards took the belt from him, getting his 19th title, and then Dreamer got it back to end the night as a 10-timer. He held for 1 day again, and the same happened again, with him dropping it to Stasiak for his 13th title, Stevie Richards getting his 20th, and Dreamer ended the show as an 11-timer. He'd then hold for 6 days, and then on another house show, he dropped the belt to Raven, who was now a 26-time champion. But of course, the title kept switching hands, and Stasiak took the belt from him to get his 14th title. Then Dreamer got his 12th, ending the night as champion once again. However, he'd only hold for a day, and then you can probably guess, he dropped the belt to Stasiak on another house show for Stasiak's 15th title. Then Stevie Richards got his 21st, but Dreamer won it back and ended the night as a 13-time champion. He'd hold for one day, but Eric Bischoff announced that there would be no more 24/7 rule for the title, and Dreamer had to put the title on the line in a 6-minute hardcore battle royal on Raw. And Bradshaw managed to grab his 17th title, but shortly after Crash Holly got his 2nd, and then Dreamer won it back to end the night as a 14-time hardcore champion. This time Dreamer held for 7 days, and then he put the title on the line against Intercontinental Champ RVD. And RVD got the win for his 4th hardcore title and ended up unifying the belts. And this was the official end of the hardcore championship, but the belt did get some sporadic appearances over the years. In 2003, Mick Foley was awarded the belt by Stone Cold for his contributions to hardcore wrestling. Then in 2006, after Edge and Foley's no-holds-barred classic at WrestleMania 22, Foley declared both him and Edge as co-holders of the hardcore championship. And in November of 2024, Triple H awarded a version to Travis Scott. I don't know why, maybe because his name's Cactus Jack or something, I don't know. But anyway, that was the complete history of the hardcore championship. Let me know what championship you want to see us cover next. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, click here for another, and if you want to become a dog yourself, check the links in the description.